Man, I missed all of you. Hey, everyone who doesn't know me, my name is Josh. Welcome to season 2 of Legends on the Rise, where I interview up and coming artists and creatives of all kinds. It encompasses every single thing about creativity. I'm Josh, and this is Legends on the Rise. I just realized this like 11 minutes into this. We didn't do your introduction. Usually I will have the person like say their name and what it is they do. So can you please do that and I'll just edit it in post?
You got it. You got it. Hi, my name is Clarissa Roman, Noe Watto online. I am an actor, voice actor, poet, writer, whatever you want to think.
I have a few questions, but I kind of want to just start with the whole play that you're in right now and talk about that.
So I am currently in a play called I Am the Blues by Donna Holloway. It is very unique compared to most of the plays that you'll see, in today's time. It actually takes place in the 60s, which
Mm.
is really fun because none of us are from the 60s. We have to talk slower and use certain slang. And my character, a fun little thing, her name is China Doll. So she's really shy and sensitive and very, you know, prone to crying. And as you know me, she's nothing like me.
But that's what makes you an excellent actress if you can actually act that way and make it believable to you. So, I mean, that works.
Yeah,
Playing someone completely different from you.
that's true. She's definitely a challenge, but it's so fun being able to play her. The play goes up on August 8th, 9th, and 10th at the Match downtown. Very blessed to be able to be in a production like this. The general consensus of this play is there is a woman. Her name is Alora Anwar. She is the flower child poet of the century, the greatest poet in the world. Everyone wants to interview her, everyone wants to talk to her. And she's so like prone to being loved by everyone. One day, she meets this man and she falls head over heels. They fall in love with each other.
Of
But
course.
when he asks her to marry him, she has a mental breakdown and she tells him no.
Oh.
So the play has her kind of having this battle with herself and trying to decide like what she wants to do with her life, if she wants to settle down or if she wants to, keep pursuing her dreams because in her mind she can't do both.
So, can you give us any like snippets of like your lines from the play or
Oh my
without spoiling
goodness.
it?
Sure, sure. This one's a biggie. They love this one when I do it in rehearsals because it's so like wild. It's a romantic comedy, so naturally you have to have this, comedy aspect. So
Right.
go ahead and give y'all a piece of that. So sorry, Laura. I don't mean to burden you. It's just that this day has been so hard. My kitten died. She was my best friend. I can't believe I cried in front of all of those people. When they asked me what happened, I told them and they laughed. They laughed at me. My supervisor called me a nutcase. He said I needed to see a shrink. He just kept laughing and repeating while eating donuts. Who cries over a cat? Who cries over a cat? Who cries over a cat?
Bravo.
Thank you.
The comedic timing was actually perfect, especially since you said your cat died and then your cat was literally just
In
behind
the
you.
background. Yeah.
And then you're talking about who laughs, no, who cries over a cat dying? And then the cat just says meow in the background.
Yeah, she's a prop, you know, paid actor over there.
Hate actor. We love to see. So, do you ever struggle with comparing your journey to others? And how do you stay grounded in your own version of success?
I definitely struggle. But I think everyone does. They just have like different ways of showing it or not showing it.
Hmm.
Um, in today's world, it's really hard to know whether or not you're still on the path that you want to be on because we live and lived through the time of COVID. You know, going to school, we were in the same class when this happened,
Yeah.
when our school got shut down. And it was supposed to be a 1 week thing that turned into a 2 week thing, a 3 week thing, until the entire semester was essentially canceled and moved online.
Online. Yeah.
That was the year that I was supposed to be graduating from that school. I didn't get to walk. I got my associates, didn't, you know, get to celebrate it because COVID times.
Yeah.
And with COVID lasting for so long, I wasn't able to continue my schooling like I needed to do. So for me, I felt like I was getting pushed behind. My sister was able to go to school and graduate. We started school at the same time. She was going to become a nurse. I was going to become an actress. She could do most of her classes online and she was able to graduate when she was supposed to. But for me, as an actor, I can't do my classes online. I have to be on stage. I have to be in front of people. I need to be able to perform. And I couldn't do that. So I got pushed back further and further until one day I was just like, look, I feel like I'm no longer on the path that I need to be on. I'm running behind in life. And
Mm.
I get that, like, a lot of people feel that way, especially with what happened during COVID. A lot of people's, minds shifted to this more closed up, falling apart self. So even now, I did manage to go back to school and I did get my bachelor's of arts, which is amazing. But I still feel like I'm behind. And I see people who started going to school at the same time of me now further than me. Or I see people who are my age who never went back to school. But there are people younger than me who graduate at the same time as me and they're able to go further because they're younger. And I just have to like kind of keep to myself like, you were older than them. They were in high school when COVID happened. You were finishing your second year at community college. They were able to have that time because high school to, a 4 year, it's nothing. But when you're already in the middle of your, last year, just to have everything fall flat, it's like needing to pick yourself back up and kind of remind yourself like you might be a little behind, you might have stumbled, but you didn't stop. And that's the important thing, is not stopping. It's continuing going, because y'all might be going for the same career, but it doesn't mean you're going to have the same experiences getting there.
Your cat just meowed in unison. I agree.
Yeah.
So, speaking on the voice acting thing, because we talked about struggles that you have went through and like how that affected your personal journey and what your version of success looks like. And you said it had to do a lot with you feeling like you fell behind when everything shut down and the pandemic and COVID and school being postponed and stuff. But like, how did that affect you on the voice acting side? Because we go quite a ways back, even
Mhm.
before HCC. And I do remember voice acting was a huge part of something you wanted to do even before you talked about becoming an actress. Voice acting, I do know, was like on the forefront of things you wanted to do, and you were like really passionate about that, even
Mhm.
doing your own project at one point. So, did it kind of like push you back into that direction of doing more voice acting work and animation and that type of stuff?
I definitely think so, because it was something that I was able to work on while I was at home. There are a lot of sites where people are looking for voice actors, paid work, unpaid work, if you want to get your foot in the door. So I was able to find a pretty decent microphone This was when I'm in a different room now, so I have a better setup now. But in
Yeah.
my room before, I was holding my mic in front of my face because I didn't have a stand to put it on. I didn't have a table, nothing. So I just had to hold it there with the filter in front of it to make it sound okay. Now I have my own little mini studio, so that's nice. Um, I was able to work more towards voice acting. I signed up on Casting Call Club, which is an amazing site where you can get different types of jobs, not even just for voice acting, for writing, animating, making music, writing, screenplays and all that stuff. And I was able to audition a lot and just practice more and more on my voice acting side of things. A TikTok was also a really big help because they have a lot of voice acting challenges that I was able to work with. So I think that's one thing that like made it easier for me during COVID, was still being able to have some amount of acting in my life.
Mhm. Can you share a collab that pushed your skills or your reach to the next level for your creative career or journey?
Mhm. I say it's in a collab, but it's really more like a personal collab as opposed to like a big, people are gonna see it all over the place type of thing. Um, my boyfriend, he also does voice acting,
Mm.
but he was in a much bigger project than I was in. And when we met, he's like, I don't tell people this because I don't know how they're going to react to it, but I'm a part of a pretty big YouTube channel, and he allowed me to see his YouTube channel. I won't name it here for his privacy. And I was able to see it. He voices Shadow the Hedgehog. Um,
What?
yeah, there's a lot of YouTube channels, so that's the only thing that I'm comfortable saying because again, I'm trying to give him his privacy. Um, but I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Shadow's my favorite hedgehog. So for my nephew's birthday, I called him up and I was like, hey, baby, you want to help me with something? And he's like, what is it? And I was like, so my nephew really loves Sonic and he loves Shadow the Hedgehog. Would you want to help me make him a birthday message? And he's like, sure. My friend voices Sonic, I voice Shadow, and you can voice Styx, which is a strange character with like a really raspy voice in one of the shows. So we all hopped on VR chat and we all had the Sonic the Hedgehog avatars and everything. And we recorded a birthday message for him. On his birthday, I played the message and he started screaming. He's like, Shadow, Sonic. That's so cool. He didn't know I was in it either. He had no clue that I was Styx. So he's like, how did you do that? And it was like that joy in his eyes and how excited he was. He played that video over and over and over again for the whole night. He told his mom about it. She knew it was me, but he was so happy that I was like, this is why I want to voice act. This is
Mm.
why I want to be in this field, this career, giving a voice to a character that people love, that they connect with, that they get so excited seeing and hearing. Like, that's a powerful feeling to have. You feel like you connect with people because you connect with what they love. So being able to see that and knowing that he doesn't know it's me was such like a great feeling. I'm so grateful for, my boyfriend and his friend for helping me create that. They were like, yeah, this is awesome. But they were already doing that stuff. So I was like, it's good to be a part of that.
Nice. So, how do you combat creative burnout when you're like going from project to project? Because I'm sure you have a lot on your plate and I'm sure there's a lot more you want to still do, right? So, how do you like manage the creative burnout so you don't feel like you're losing your drive or your reason for doing it?
Definitely gets hard sometimes, without a doubt. There are times where I just don't even want to get into the studio because my voice doesn't feel like it's there. Or with the plays, we go through so much stress with these plays. For me, I've been in 4 plays back to back to back since I graduated with my bachelor's of arts. Like the moment I graduated, I was in a play. And then that play ended, and then I was in a play. Like it's been back to back to back plays, even leading up to this play that I'm in now. My best way to try and combat not being burnt out by like all of these projects and all of these things to do is trying to pay attention to my time while also being firm on what my time to a project is and what my time away from it is.
Mm.
If I have a schedule where I need to be off book by a certain day, I will be off book by a certain day, no doubt about it. However, you cannot focus on all work or all play. I spent the entire weekend learning my lines because my deadline was yesterday. I learned all of my lines in the span of the weekend. First one off book. But when I learned my lines, as I'm going bit by bit, I was like, okay, I know this section. I'm going to take a break, doom scroll on TikTok, then go right back to it to see what I remember. And that's kind of where the mindset comes from is like, focus on work, but focus on you. Because if you don't focus on either or you focus on one more than the other, that's where the burnout comes from. If you lose your ability to relax in the field that you're in, then you start to drown in it and lose the joy for it. Because as an actor, that's what it is. You're being paid to play. If you can't have fun acting, if you can't have fun, in the career that you're in, then is it really the career for you?
True. So this is slightly changing up and going back to the voice acting thing because you're speaking a lot about like getting paid to like playing this role and like enjoying playing that role. So, and this is like more so on the technical side of things as well. For someone who wants to get into this, like they just really have a passion for it, but they have no idea where to start on the voice acting side of things. And say they see a scene in an anime or even a cartoon and they want to give it a shot voicing that character, like just in that scene for like a reel or something to send off to agencies or whatever for
Mhm.
a project. How would they go about doing that? What gear would they need? How would they start that?
So the first thing that I would say, because I've seen a couple like popular voice actors talk about it, um, you never want to send a reel of you impersonating another character.
Mm,
Especially in the voice acting field, they don't want an impersonation. They want a new voice. So reading a script, absolutely. Playing a character that already has a voice, trying to mimic a voice that's already there, it doesn't make you unique. It makes you part of the crowd. It doesn't allow you to stand out because, of course, you're mimicking a voice we already like. You need to be able to stand out. I make my own scripts. I do my own reels. I do my own demos. And that's what I focus on. I try to always do something that's different. I always try to do a different voice and I try not to do too many impersonations because they're cool. Of course, it's a little parlor trick. People like hearing impersonations, but they're not going to call the impersonation back. They want someone that's able to bring their own voice, their own power, their own passion into a project and not feed off of someone else's success by trying to mimic them.
gotcha.
Mhm.
So would you have any like advice for starter gear they can use to like record and get into it? Like,
Yeah. So 100% right now I'm using a Samsung mic.
mhm.
Um, it's very small and tiny. It's a very small mic, but it has a lot of power behind it. I have three different mics in my room. I have four. One of them I'm not using yet. I'm waiting for the Samsung to break. I
Okay.
have I have this one that I got for my birthday. It is a five fine. Specifically, this one is used for podcasts, but it's so clear and you can hear everything. I don't even have a filter in front of it because it has its own pop filter. So you can hear everything in the room. That's a biggie. When you can hear everything in the room, because you hear everything, you want to have soundproofing. In my studio, I have studio foam, but I also have egg carton containers because with the way that they're shaped for the eggs, the sound bounces off of them and
Right.
insulates them while also echoing the important sounds. So you want to kind of have a small area, if possible, where you can soundproof. That way, you're not hearing too much from the outside. And if you're doing embarrassing scenes, you don't want people outside to hear you.
Noted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Uh, what's something you wish you ignored when you first started, and what's something you wish you listened to earlier, like a piece of advice you had from someone doing this a bit longer, and then when you got in the field, you're like, "Damn, I wish I ignored that advice," or "Wow, I
Mm-hmm.
wish I listened to that sooner. That would have saved me."
Yeah. So I would have to say that one of the pieces of advice that I wish I would have ignored was the if you're good, you're good. You don't need to go to school for it.
Hmm.
The reason why I say this, I did go to school, but it's because like hearing that type of advice gives you a certain type of mindset that, I'm just going to school just to go to school. I don't need to. I'm already good. That's not how life is. It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how talented you feel like you are. You're always going to learn more from someone else who does it better. If I would have allowed myself to actually sink in and listen to that advice,
Hmm.
or not be open to learning more, I would be stunted. I would not be able to perform at the level that I'm at now. A piece of advice that I would have listened to more or wish that I did was keeping up with backups. In my mind, whenever I said I'm going to go to school to be an actor, they said I would do acting on the side, pick something else, and then do acting on the side. I didn't want to do that because in my mind, acting was it. Acting is everything to me. Still is. However, in between shows, you need something else to do. So I wish that I would have kind of explored my options more than just being an actor. I definitely wish I could have found a way to taken up like creative writing classes or anything like that. But unfortunately, in school, you get your minor and your major. My major was acting. My minor was English, but because my major was in English, I wasn't able to take up the creative writing to write books or, screenplays or anything like that.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Is there not like any other like ways you can get into the creative writing side, or have you ever like thought about going back, like pursuing some creative writing based courses?
Um, I definitely think about going back sometimes.
Hmm.
I've had one of my professors try and like ask me to come back as well, but she wants me to go to be a teacher. I don't like teaching.
Fair enough.
um Respect teachers, but with today's kids, I
Yeah.
just, yeah, I was like, oh, they wouldn't like
Yeah.
me.
It is a
So,
different environment entirely on that front.
oh, for sure. My best way to focus on my creative writing now without being in school is just read
Hmm.
and try to see what other authors are doing to see if any of it connects with you. I just finished writing my second play, my second official play, so that I could present it, hopefully, fingers crossed, for the Match Fine Arts Festival in January. They will let us know by July. However, I wrote this while still learning my lines for the play that I'm in. So I was able to read the script and see what I wanted my formatting to be for the play that I was doing. And I kind of compared multiple different plays to the one I was writing to see if I liked how the formats were. So that's my way of exercising my creative writing potential.
That's the best way to learn, literally looking at people who've already done it and then incorporating it into your work. So,
Yep.
yeah, formatting definitely helps with that. So, what do you think is currently an overhyped trend that you see on social media for pushing your work that you feel is like overrated, like, and then one that you're actually excited about?
So we live in a very social media based world where we have influencers up, down, left, right. Um, what I think is kind of like an annoying trend is wastefulness.
In what
I'll
way?
see I'll see creators, very popular creators, buying food or objects and then destroying it for the hype.
Mm,
I'll see people buying food upon food, piles of it, just to sit in a camera and eat it as if it's a necessity to them. Mukbangers, there are good ones, but I saw this one girl who had a bowl full of strawberry milk and she was dipping two different rolls of cookie dough into it for the sake of her fans, for the sake of being on camera and wasting this food that anyone in the world right now could utilize, could eat, rather than wasting it. We are living in a time where things are becoming in such short supply that we should not be wasting these things, that we shouldn't be destroying things. Just last week, when the Nintendo 2
Switch to.
Switch 2s dropped, yes, when the
Oh
Switch
man.
2s dropped, I saw a creator showing off that he bought it and
And
then
then
he
throw it.
destroyed it
Yeah, in the
right
parking lot.
there.
Is that the only?
Yes,
Oh my God.
yes.
I
I was
was so pissed. Because I'm still trying to get one, but anyway, that's a different story for another time.
like, yeah.
Anyway, but like, have you seen any trends like within the acting field in particular that you feel is overrated as well? Like any trends to like promote yourself as an artist that you're like, that's kind of stupid, I wouldn't do that. Or like trends that you see that you're like, I might try that.
I like the in character trends.
The end
I
character.
like, oh, say hi in character or talk to me in character. Like I really like that because you can see the actors jump from themselves because they're not expecting it to into their character. That's
Right.
a big thing for me because that shows me you're in tune with your character because you can switch right off the bat. You're able to portray a completely different person when randomly asked to. I really like those type of trends. Um, I don't like the trend of, you can't sit here. When in the acting field there are some people that carry themselves as if they have already made it.
Hmm.
They carry themselves as if they have the ability to talk down on other actors when they're on the same level and playing field. What I mean by that is I'll see like actors who are just the same community based actor as I am, but they act like they're Denzel. I don't like that. I feel like as an actor, you need to be open to all actors, all people. You need to be open to, possible fans. And if you go with, snootiness or snobbiness, you don't deserve to be on stage because the only reason why people are celebrated as celebrities is because the people are watching them and like them. If you cannot have that grace, that humbleness, that kindness, you don't deserve to be in the eyes of the people.
I agree. Especially in this day and age with content creators versus influencers, I definitely feel, and this is kind of on topic, kind of slightly different. It's about a convention I went to. I went to this panel where they were talking about macro versus micro influencers and how a lot of these conventions, it seems like it's kind of turned into like more of an exhibit viewing thing rather than an actual convention because a
Yeah.
lot of people have cameras in their streaming. But in particular, it seems like it's opened up the gates for people who are not really into that type of culture or anime and are just there so they can like use it for content exclusively.
Yeah.
because
Um,
it's popular.
I've definitely seen that. I heard a lot. I wasn't able to make it for DreamCon. I heard a lot of people talking about them going to DreamCon. And for a lot of like the anime frequenters, they said that the energy wasn't right because they felt as if all the people that were there for the streamers, not for the anime convention. And they felt like all the people that were there were people that bullied them for liking anime.
Yeah, that was the overall consensus.
Mm.
That was the overall conversation too. That and then apparently what was the other thing they said? Oh, no, going back to your topic, which is the other thing they said. Trying to figure out how to word it. They felt that some people that are considered macro influencers, these really big worldwide, world-known influencers, do not deserve their spotlight simply due to the fact that uh they're idiots, wasteful, like you were saying for one, but also they can't believe that these people are macro influencers compared to a lot of the micro influencers that they're like, really? You look like you should have more
Mm.
people following you based on your content. I don't know why this person who does the same things more.
Um, so the thing that people kind of don't really understand is the, big influencers were once small.
Right.
They didn't always act how they act now. They act bigger because they got bigger. They act more
Mm.
wasteful because they have the opportunity to do that. They lost their ability to be humble. Not all of them, obviously. You still have some like really gentle, good-hearted people that absolutely have earned their places, in the, influencer, platform that they have. But you have some that have kind of lost their way. You have seen the rise and fall of Logan and Jake Paul. They weren't always like that, but the
Yeah,
more
but they weren't.
popular they got, the worse they got.
I don't know. I felt like they were always kind of, and then they just progressively got
It's
worse.
so much worse. But so with Logan Paul specifically, I remember seeing his videos when I was much younger, and they were funny. They were funny videos. But then you start showing, the remains of people in a forest for clout. You start insulting people for clout. You start, being rude and disrespectful for clout. And that's like you lost yourself. If you
Yeah.
would have just stayed the funny guy, that would have been fine. But now you're pushing people's boundaries. Now you're being rude. You're being ugly. You're being all of these things that nobody likes. However, he still has a platform. As
Yeah.
much as people say they don't like him, he's still relevant. And
Yeah.
that's the downside because you have a lot of influencers who are just naturally good hearted people. One of the big ones, Corey Kenshin. All these years he's been streaming, he's still wholesome. True enough, he had to take breaks, but he's still the same person. He's still the gamer. He's still the anime fan. He's still the reader, the joker. He's still wholesome. He has not shifted into a negative light, but some others have fallen from grace and yet they keep their platforms.
Yeah. I didn't really watch Logan Paul as much back then. I mostly watched like SS Sniper Wolf and there's this other dude that definitely fell off. Onision, I think, before he went completely he got accused of the same shit that Vic McGonagall got accused of. But
Mm-hmm.
also apparently he had some like weird like abusive relationship with his on and off again wife, girlfriend. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
kind of blurry, but I stopped watching him. Uh, but those are the people I used to watch, and they kind of had that same like transition of like getting all this fame and then a fall from grace, which is unfortunate because their content I did feel was like top tier in the anime, comedy, and like fact checking era of
Yeah.
YouTube. And now it's like these people are so
Yeah. It's hard to watch. It's hard
yeah,
to watch because, you had fans, you were wholesome, you connected, but then you let it get to your head and you became your worst self.
yeah,
Some of the downsides of today because even when you're bad, if you already have fans and your fans are bad, when you start to become bad,
Mm-hmm.
they start to think it's okay because you, the influencer, are able to do
Yeah. Yeah. That's also one of the problems I think, like with a lot of like the bigger influencers.
it. Hmm.
I want to talk about this a bit more, but we're like in our last 2.5 minutes before this cuts off. So I'm gonna switch gears for the ending real quick. Did you have any like last minute tips you want to give people that are pursuing the same career path as you, or like any last minute shout outs for your play? Or
Absolutely. In this world, there are thousands upon thousands that are all trying to do the same thing as you. That does not mean that you give up. You keep trying, you keep pushing, you keep trying to be your best self, because if it's something you love, then it's something for you. People are not born to do things for the rest of their lives that they hate. If you have a passion, pursue it. And if you are happy about it, then you are successful. Money does not determine success, happiness does. So as long as you push for that, you will be able to be happy in the life that you have.